Hallå, 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 hallå! Där! Jag vaknade rakun till också. Och vi är live! För typ 200 gången. Den här gången kanske ljudet funkar, eller vad tror du, Otto?
Ja, men vi hoppas på
We
det.
need to talk English too. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. Let's do the English one. Yeah, sorry about that.
Let's talk with the English language.
Yeah, and I can hear myself in the stream. So it seems like we are finally up and running again.
We are up and running after a minor accident I did somehow manage
Yes,
to pour
we
water.
would all very much like to emphasize that everything started with Kringlan spilling a huge cup of water over his electrical power grid.
I was
Power
actually
outlet,
doing the
I mean.
dishes, and I was maybe not very careful.
Oh my
Yeah.
lord.
But it started
Yeah.
before that with Windows Update that fucked that stuff up, and then I thought I would solve it all by creating a short. It's a clever idea, and luckily nothing broke apart from a connector. Sometimes you are lucky. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we are actually very lucky that you have the skills to fix stuff like this yourself.
Yeah, let's call it fix. I mean, I'm gonna put parentheses around skills and fix here. I mean, at least I secured everything by doing absolute nothing to prevent this in the future, and now I'm drinking milk and coffee here on the table, which I could easily pour out. Over a lot.
Can we get a donation goal for one of those sippy cups for Kringlan sippy cup? One of these for children, you know, that you can't really spill.
I need something like that. I'm not supposed to be grown up. Something went wrong. People look at me and say, that's a lot responsible.
Well, the only thing that actually still is a child is your height, so yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I never grew up.
You're Peter Pan.
Yeah.
That's it. You're the real life Peter Pan. I knew it.
I'm the real life Peter Pan.
Yeah. Well, we do have some interesting stuff to talk about today, even though this week has been pretty much debooked by me because by the information I had, we would have to crowdfund 35,000, which we weren't gonna do in a week. So that's on me. But we're gonna talk about some things. Kringlan, in which end did we start?
I mean, I think I can start here.
Yeah, okay, you can start.
I have so many things. Actually.
Then take it away, man. Take it away.
Did you know that there's currently a tropical-like cyclone building between southern Italy and Greece?
I was going to say outside America, yes. Greece? No, I had no idea. But by the way, could you just start your little streamy thingy for me?
Sorry.
For me!
There we go. Right.
Okay, so now I can see. So we have.
So you can see now?
I can see what you're doing on the stream, yes, but the stream is still looking at Boris Johnson.
Right. I think that this is not good at all. The stream is looking. What am I looking at now?
On Discord or on Twitch?
On Discord.
On Discord, you're watching on a hurricane.
Okay, well, that's working. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of error messages, but I'm just gonna pretend I did not see that. Yeah. I don't want to see that. I'm gonna pretend that never happened, and I'm gonna have to solve that at some other point in time. But, however, yes, look at that. Look at it. I mean, imagine sailing right here. You can go from Sicily here to Turkey in no time. Greece, even. Before that, to Sparta. Oh my God.
Why would you want to do something so stupid? But I mean, is this a normal area for hurricanes? I mean, don't really remember hearing about hurricanes in Greece.
It's not a normal area for hurricanes.
Then why the fuck is this happening?
Global climate change.
Oh, okay. So basically, this is a big middle finger to all the Greta haters.
Well, I mean, they can hate her all they want. It's just I mean, let's be honest. The climate is changing rapidly, and it's not going to mean that it necessarily means that it gets warmer everywhere or colder everywhere. It's a very, very complex system. The big thing that has changed over the last years is that we have a carbon emission that is up. It's up higher than it has ever been. CO2, greenhouse gases, and the CO2 is up to 400 parts per million, or what it's called. I'm not sure about that measurement. I always forget. But it's insanely high. It's double what it has been flocking around. And the last time it was even remotely close to this, the Earth really did get superheated. I mean, that was, I don't know, it was a couple of million years ago. It's a long I can't remember the time scales. But I mean, it has happened before, not to the extent that we see today. I mean, not this fast and not this much. So the relationship between the greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, and the temperature on the Earth is very well established. That's not. But obviously, it's also a lot more complex than that. I mean, you can have runaway effects, and you can have all of these stuff. So, the natural only. I mean, the temperature, the stuff is changing, and I'm not. I mean, I'm sure there's storms here. I'm sure this is not completely unusual, but we're for the first time ever we have 5 storms at the same time in the Atlantic Ocean, and I mean. Things are changing, and I think, I mean, for us who live in Sweden, I think, I mean, I can't really. I mean, to me, just coming back from China and experiencing a Swedish winter again was weird to me, because it's like you are having these long winters that aren't really cool. They never get cold, it never snows. It's just like wet and nasty. And then,
I mean, I remember the winters from when I was a child as well. I mean. I lived on the countryside then, but still, we had a lot more snow, and everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, the general trend is and also the spring has disappeared here. I'm not sure if you thought about that. That's something I think about all the time. All of it, it's kind of cold. February is cold. March is cold, still cold, and then April, somewhere there, all of a sudden it goes from 0 to 5 to 10, and then all of a sudden it's like 15, 20. Like it's very fast. That's how I feel. But anyway, I mean, it's affecting everywhere. I mean, I was living in Guilin, in Yangshuo, for some time, where it's a really wet area, but the last few years it's become insane. Like the flooding is like regular now, and obviously they had built the banks to avoid the flooding, so you have just a lot more rainfall. You get different forms. You get different forms of climate, and I mean, obviously, it's very little to do with.
Yay! Good news.
Hurricanes don't care about your fields, man.
Okay, that's not the good news.
Yeah. Speaking of that, and on the better note of this, hopefully, okay, let's see it from the positive side. If we did everything else correct and not only the cars, then this would be positive news. If we didn't power them with coal power, for instance. But anyhow, electric car sales are exploding in Europe this year. This is pretty sick. I mean, I have no idea what BEW or PHEW means. And of
Henning,
course,
where are you?
Yeah, Henning, please. This is, I guess, some form of electric vehicle and electric vehicle by the end. But anyway, I mean, I also, of course, they don't say what the hell 2 is here. But we will believe this and be happy about this news, because we need.
Is this maybe news. A factor?
Maybe it's 2 million cars. I don't know.
Okay.
4 million.
We must be the greatest Twitch hosts ever.
Yeah, this is news, guys. This is news. Polygon hybrid electric vehicle. What the hell is that? What is that?
Is that a hybrid?
Oh, it's a hybrid.
Obviously, you.
Yeah, but what is Plugon? As we say.
Plugon is. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that it's mixed, fossil fuel mixed hybrid electrical vehicle, or something like that. Plug
in. Okay, that was specific. Plug in. Hybrid. Okay.
And then it's probably battery-powered electrical vehicle or something like that. The BEV.
Yeah. Let's find out. I'm not gonna Google that. That's too tiresome. I'd rather we guess in the chat what the hell everything means. What is this? Okay, maybe I should have had. Okay. So slightly. There's a heat wave going on for those of you who didn't know. Not that I feel it here.
Thank God I'm not feeling this heat wave.
I'm really not feeling it here. It was really cold today. Guess it was yesterday though. But god damn it, you can tell by the colors, you know. The red color is obviously very fucking warm.
Yeah, the purple colors are even.
I mean, where do
45.
they go? 5. I mean, are we gonna repeat back to blue for like temperatures over 50? I mean, we have that now, so on some first. So I mean, like, I don't know. We're gonna rotate colors. We have to invent new colors for the increased temperature. I don't know.
Wow.
It's gonna get tricky soon. And another thing that we can note is that the positivity towards Chinese investment in Europe is kind of shrinking. Most countries in Europe restrict Chinese investment in EU in strategic sectors only. Whereas Finland, Denmark, and...
What the fuck, Danes? What the fuck, Finns? What do you mean no restriction of Chinese investment in the EU? What the fuck, guys?
No, why? Come on. Let's sell the lost shit. I mean, Jesus Christ. If we are gonna build our companies, we need to team up with someone. Better team up with the US than China than US. Those guys are nuts. You gotta pick a side, man.
Yeah, but I don't want to pick a side. I don't wanna. No, this is like bad and worse.
Yeah. Otto is promote. It's gonna be the new. It's gonna be the new. I guess that's I guess the Swedish way of doing business. Yeah, these German guys. I mean, this racism and killing people and shit and attacking all the other countries is pretty bad, but let's not pick a side. We can. Yeah, right now though it's a little bit hard to say. You got two pretty goddamn bad people in charge. Speaking of that, Navalny poisoning shows why Putin's pipeline must be stopped. Nord Stream 2 will make Europe dependent on Russian regime. I kind of like, and it wasn't by my intention, but all of these three news here are very connected. How about that we don't build Nord Stream? I mean, how can Sweden, for instance, accept this? And now we're going to build a refinery in the northern Sweden. And the token politics of the whole of Europe is so fucking blatant. I mean, Sweden is corrupt to the core to a certain degree, and specifically in these matters. But it's so incredible to hear these people talk about,
Go Greta! Yeah, let's make a giant pipeline to Russia.
And the weird thing is, and then you have all of the right-wing fucking morons getting triggered, and then the non-discussion is a go. And they think, it's like this left. I mean, all you really need to do to be able for a politician to not have to talk about anything is give Greta a medal. And you don't have to do anything. That's all you ever will have to do. Because then all the fucking right-wing morons are gonna see red and be like, wah, 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 wah. And the internet will be afloat with questions about, what her parents are thinking. And not anything about what she's actually saying. Not anything. And of course the politicians love this because they can keep on doing the same fucking corrupt policies they've always done. I mean, it's incredible. But whatever, whatever. And Europe, we are not, let's at least say UK, Spain, France, and Germany we're not that positive to put Trump, as if anyone needed to know. He has pretty constantly been around Bush. When Bush finally completely crashed the US economy, as he managed to do in 2008. That's about where Trump has been pretty constantly. Although UK is pretty positive. UK stands out. They like him. I mean, we're still down. We're talking about 19%, right? But
do you know what happened there? Right at this, the latest straight turn, so to speak.
The latest what? In UK?
I mean, all these turns in the liking or disliking of Trump.
Well, it depends on if we're looking at here in Europe, it's going down. 2019, it looks like here at least, and we're looking at UK, Spain, France, and Germany. So,
I love how we celebrated Obama.
Yeah, he had an incredible approval rating. I mean, it kind of also goes to show, I gotta say this, but it goes to show how media controls certain aspects of the conversation. For a president that, I mean, was the lapdog of the neoliberal and the industrial military complex, the oil business, etc., 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 he had an incredibly good rating. I mean, he started more wars, I think, than any other. It's like, let's just say his track record is fucking shit, Obama's, right? It's one of the worst presidents. But I believe also that, he was one of those presidents that had that message of hope, right? And that kind of youth. He made a lot of people believe. I mean, obviously, they're all let down now, which is why a lot of them voted for Trump. It's kind of like if you're saying you're going to do something and then you don't do shit and you just make it worse. People aren't necessarily going to be too optimistic about politics in general, I guess. Obviously, Trump has accelerated. I mean, he promised a lot of shit that he didn't do. I mean, we were watching part of his wall blow down the other day. Obviously, it's hard to calculate for the winds when you're building a wall. Turned up, by the way, out that it wasn't even his wall. It was his son's wall that he built. He scammed Trump supporters out of on a GoFundMe campaign that they bought a boat for, which is, by the way, they're in court now for that. It's fucking the amount of grifting. I mean, how they fucking cheat their followers is incredible. But I mean, as long as you're the God King Trump and you have a QAnon behind you, why not? You can do it. It's fine. You're Jesus reborn. It's good. But yeah, we can probably get into some US stuff, but I think I got some good stuff from. I mean, this is something we absolutely have to talk about. It's the trial of Assange, right? And I think I picked up another one. But this is really fucked up. I mean, this is extradition hearing. I mean, he's been in prison now for 18 months. Max security prison. He has 10 minutes a day to communicate with anyone else. Suddenly I can't hear you, and you don't seem to be hearing me. Oh, what the fuck? All right, I did get disconnected here. Let me see. Let me see if maybe that bug that we were... Okay, I think... I'm gonna restart Discord here. Yeah. That's not good. This is not good. Can't be ignored anymore. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. We'll try this. Okay. So I think that was Discord only, hopefully. Let's try to restart it. I don't like that. Don't like that at all. That's not what I want to see. Bling, 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 bling. Hello?
Hello, hello?
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Let's
thank God.
Let's try to stream one more time.
Yeah, I can hear myself as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. I can hear my own beautiful voice. It's excellent. Yeah, but let's just say this Julian Assange shit is a mess.
Yeah, holy shit. Go through that. Take the stage, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in prison for 18 months, obviously after spending 7 years on the Ecuadorian. I mean, this is such an incredible shame for Europe, and I mean, UK in particular, but I mean, Sweden has been a big part of this. So, I mean, I can't say much. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, just look at how little it's been reported on. I mean, it barely creates anything. We're having a situation where basically someone... It's a whistle-blowing service online where you can upload documents. Actually, most newspapers have the same service today. You can anonymously upload documents. And then they have a couple of people there that go through it and see if this is relevant, and then they publish it. Right? This is essentially what it is. It's like a newspaper, but without editors. And it's governed by these exact same press laws that says that you should not be able, a news source doesn't have to disclose their sources. It's very fundamental, right? So everything here is just completely fucking nuts. But for that, he's been in hiding on the Ecuadorian embassy, which also sparked so much controversies, because that meant that they actually had to hire... So the Ecuadorian embassy are hiring a Spanish security firm, where the leader of the firm actually told the people that work there that we have joined the dark side. So he went to some military, complex, forum meeting, whatever, and he said that that he was working with security at the embassy where they held Assange. So then bugged exactly everything in the building. They took DNA out of the poop of kids to see if he was the father. I mean, which you can't even get DNA out of. I mean, it's like a farce, right? It's completely. It's like they tried to poison a lawyer. I can't even start it. There's actually a good link. I'll link this in the Allmänning, and you'll find there's a great movie also on this topic made. I mean, he has a couple of journalists have been close to him who can talk about the things that they've been going through during the last, I think, even 13 years. It's a very, very, very special journey into our absolutely non-functional judiciary system. And it's hard to know where to even start. I mean, he can talk to someone he can talk to his lawyer for 15 minutes a day. He's in a supermax prison, completely isolated. And in his hearings now, no one really, apart from special invitees, are allowed to be at the actual hearing. So the journalists can only follow this. And it's only select journalists. They can follow it through TV screens, right? It's like a complete we're talking about an extradition hearing. Nothing here should be secret. Nothing here should be specific. Nothing here warrants supermax prison, warrants the treatment of someone that can't even give his defense properly because he can't really even tell what he's accused of. At least in the courtroom, right? I don't even know where to start. And the fun thing is, so it turns out the previous judge actually had to recuse herself because her husband works with the defense industry in U.S. or has ties there, right? And the new judge is a judge who has no real history. Rather, all of her cases are classified. But what she has been able to do is that she's often called in to these type of hearings when they want to kind of break the law on extradition. So she's like, I think 94% of her cases, when there's been an extradition case, she has said, yeah, well, this guy's gone. Right? It's a complete, I mean, you can say, I mean, we're talking about Navalny and the poisoning that's happened to him. If you go through this story, they have been trying to poison people here. It's been complete fucking nuts. The security services of a lot of countries have been involved. It's just so pathetic. And I mean, again, like, we're a banana republic in many ways. And we're like, and this is just one of those, democracy, we are free, wah, 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 wah. And then, your basic fundamental tenets of being able to actually publish things, the press laws, or just the laws of free speech. You cannot criticize our police or our security services or our policies if it comes from, these really big and powerful organizations, right? You're gonna go to jail. And in US, Julian Assange faces 174 years in jail.
That's insane.
And for doing journalism, right? I mean, remember this. I mean, this is fundamental journalism. This is nothing. The difference here is that he is not a journalist that gets paid to, that hangs out with a powerful elite, with a business that controls the policy. And he doesn't hang around in those circles. So he says things that are, the Panama Papers release all of these things that are actually, that shows the blatant corruption. So obviously he makes a lot of enemies. While a lot of the biggest papers, obviously, they will not really publish this. They're walking a thin line. And I mean, we've been looking the changes in the New York Times over the last, 20 years, how they do not publish things, and how a lot of the journalists there have left because there's just like, you're not allowed to say things that but the problem is obviously, like, the whole thing, I mean, this is made to scare journalists. Like, this is an affront to the free press. The problem is that obviously not even most press really cares, because they haven't done any form of free press in a long time, no matter what. I mean, that's not really what they are there to do, And I think, yeah.
Yeah, no. You finish the thought.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, and I think you can see that just by how little press attention this gets.
Yeah. And about talking of free media, how is Chinese media reporting about this?
I haven't seen. Not at all, I think.
That's interesting. One might think that this is sort of embarging war that's currently being run by USA and China. Chinese media would be all over this.
I don't really think so. They're not really over all of these controversial issues. But honestly, I don't know.
How is do you know how Russia Today is writing about it?
Look. I mean, I'm sure most I mean, they're going to write about it, but it's hard to say. I mean, the question is, yeah, this is a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, they publish a lot about it, which isn't strange, right? But I mean, I think in Swedish newspapers, I think I've seen 1 or 2 articles. You know, it's nothing. I mean, it's literally nothing. You know, and if it is something, it's something, you know, Reuters or TT copy, right? One of those. I mean, it's not something that it's not any journalism, but I mean, at least here it seems to be some reporting. They actually have almost one every day here since the hearings. This is September. I mean, this is kind of. Yeah. But you gotta give them credit for reporting on it, you know. I mean, obviously they report on it because it's kind of blatantly shows the double moral of West, right? And I mean, Russia is, let's just say, you know, guys, let's be honest. But at least it kind of, yeah. I mean, it makes sense for them to talk about it, but at least they talk about it. Yeah. Man, I don't know what to say about that. I will make sure, if you actually, let's find it together. I think it's in here. I think I posted it in Allmänningen, to be honest. Maybe not. I posted in Nyhetstips, I think, probably. Yeah, this is also good from. This is about why the media is silent by the and Glenn Greenwald is an amazingly good journalist as well. Anything he ever does, you can. But yeah. Anyway, I'll find it later and I'll post it in Bokklubben. It was really good. It's a long interview on Rolling Stone's Useful Idiots about exactly this. It's with a filmmaker or a journalist who's been following Assange for the latest 13 years, and they also released a movie recently, which I think probably is worth seeing. But just that interview is great to kind of get it like a short introduction to the ins and out of the last 10 years. Because it's fucking messy. And it's, I mean, it's I don't know, like after, you know, doing this for so long now, Otto, long, but, you know, really kind of getting into the news for a long time. And, you know, just trying to find, okay, this and this and this, and, you know, you're trying to find different sources for different information. You're trying to, you know, everyone obviously has an agenda, right? I mean, that's just how it is. There is no such thing as anything that is neutral. But, and, you know, me living abroad, I mean, you obviously start to understand that the West is pretty goddamn fucked up, you know? And like a lot of the things that we've done is really fucking horrible and keep on doing. And that our media internally is kind of blowing our ego up like insane, right? When in reality, we are, you know, never really ever been promoting democracy or peace or anything like that. It's never been about that. But I gotta say, I mean, it's accelerating in a pace I never thought was possible. Right? And this is probably, I mean, as the Assange trial is just one of those cases of this where also I don't get, you know, and you can think about it this way. So, I mean, basically journalism is on trial here. You would imagine that any free newspaper would focus all of their energy on talking about this story. I mean, if you can be sent to USA because, for the reason that you have been a journalist, essentially, right? Because that's what it is. You have actually found sources and you've published information. I mean, if this is something you can be sent to USA and face jail for, or I mean, even here, I mean, this is the end of free journalism. I mean, imagine the precedent this sets. How are you fucking gonna criticize USA? I mean, what are you gonna do with classified information? You don't even know what's classified or not. You can't even possibly know. They can just choose to classify it after the fact, and you're fucked. You'd imagine that any fucking free newspaper makes this the top one fucking story and builds a huge opinion to stop this affront against the fucking news, right? Independent journalism or free journalism or the ability to actually share what's going on.
Can we get a snippet out of that one?
Yeah. Let's snipe it. God damn it, I don't have that open even. But right? Am I wrong? I mean, I think this is like one of those most glaring cases that we are in, how to say, post-capitalist, late capitalism stage. I mean, turning fascist in a way. I don't even know how like fascist, but you know what I mean. Like it's really, you'd expect all the newspapers to care about this, but the fact that they don't, it just kind of means that it's already happened. Like, it's already over. The war has already been lost, and it was lost somewhere when we didn't even notice it. I mean, instead in Sweden, what are we talking about? We're talking about we're talking about burning the Koran on the streets, This culture war. I mean, what the fuck? This culture war is being shoved up our asses, and people are, taking their sides and cheering on, while the politics of it all and the actual realities are just, swooping in around us. It's pretty, yeah. It's bad, I'd say. Speaking of the culture war, I was about to say, but H&M has cut ties with Chinese supplier over accusations of forced labor. This has been a bit of a thing. Obviously, we do know that the Chinese have a tendency to use concentration camps for producing a lot of their goods these days. I mean, they gotta make sure that the US prison population doesn't undercut them in prices, right? I mean, the machines gotta turn. You gotta export that shit. But, and I mean, there is some. There are some things that is just fundamentally true about this. If you can keep on if you can use slave labor, I mean, obviously that's pretty fucking practical. I mean, imagine how low cost you can do things, right? I mean, that means that you can really compete on the world market. And it's quite amazing that H&M actually drops these products. Because let me tell you, most companies don't, right? They'll have some lofty speech about how that's all wrong and that's horrible. But by the end, that's an increase in margin. I mean, that's the shareholders are laughing all the way to the bank, right?
I made snippet.
You made a snippet. Classic. Please end rant. But I mean, it's good. It's good that they.
Let's try.
And also, let's kind of be honest. The way that most suppliers, most big factories, even the way that, yeah, exactly, Superverse. The cultural war is just a theater for the public, managed by the powerful rulers, as usual through history. And I'm not even sure it's like, I don't. It's just also kind of like a function of a system, right? It's a kind of natural progression of a system where a lot of people aren't that happy, and where you need to kind of I mean, it's that the kind of the progression from extreme or neoliberalism into fascism, which is it's the way to go where you can keep power, right, with closer control rather than anything else, right? Because God damn it, that you would give up power, and it's also kind of hopeless once you have this kind of pure for-profit motives everywhere. You're going to maximize profit. That's the whole point of it. And, it kind of comes into these things as well. H&M did concede that it has an indirect business relationship with one mill in Shangyu in Zhejiang province belonging to Hafu Fashion. The point is here, they don't have a fucking clue where their shit is made. And normally they will buy things from a supplier that looks good, that has all the certificates, but it's not where the shit is going to be produced. Look, if you're going to find, cheap cloth and cheap, cheap raw materials somewhere, you don't fucking ask questions, you buy it. I mean, this is why the prison population of the US can be used as slave labor. I mean, how the fuck do you know? And the point of it is that you're going to go, I mean, it kind of builds on these unawareness of where you are, right? So you have these long kind of chains where things can go through and you don't take responsibility for it. And the big thing here is that they at least admit to this. They have been able to trace one, but who knows? I mean, H&M probably knows more than a lot of companies still. But even so, most companies, even big ones that I've found in China, they just buy. And they will want it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. At any cost, cheaper. Because getting it cheaper, that is exactly how you increase the margins for your stockholders. That is how you increase your... I mean, that's the way, right? Because you cannot increase the price. I mean, imagine H&M imagine the Western people going out and actually buying clothes at a price that it would actually cost to make it in their own country. Have any idea how expensive that would be? That's incredible. I mean, at that point, everyone would kind of realize what inflation has done to us and how poor we actually are. Let alone the fact that we're mostly using borrowed money anyway. So you really... I mean, it's more the function of a system that is coming up on itself, that's really starting to eat itself. And the more it starts doing that and people actually realize that they're getting it worse, the easier it is to go into kind of taking a fascist turn rather than something else, right? The company also said it had conducted an inquiry at all the garment manufacturing factories we work with in China, aiming to ensure that we are not employing workers through what is reported on as labor transfer programs or employment schemes where forced labor is an increased risk. I mean, this is like a I mean, okay, so they have asked some of their suppliers, are you doing this? Yes or no? No, okay, then fine. Oh, I mean, you can't you can't stop that. And I mean, I just hope that we don't see expanded labor camps, But that's probably most likely what we are going to get. I mean, here in Sweden, they're talking about putting all the people who are, unemployed, giving them, some form of governmental underpaid job, probably working in some similar style factory, right? And to a certain extent, I mean, it's really damaging on a lot of different things because to a certain extent, and this is kind of the weird thing, if we're starting to have labor camps all over the world, then automation actually will cost more. I mean, if we're going to have so much poor people, that the only way for them to survive, like kind of getting them into labor camps or working for literally nothing, then human labor are again cheaper. I mean, it's just going to be cheaper than anything else. I mean, the big problem is obviously then you don't have anyone who buy the goods either. And that kind of defeats the point of having automation in the first place. There is going to be a lot of people working to create a few resources for the very rich. But maybe that's some sort of reset that we need to have, because at some point, at least it would allow people to organize. Unsure. Lock and lol. We have Steve Bannon is behind bogus study that China created COVID. Daily Beast. Steve Bannon, who is a very, let's just say very, oh my god. Nah, oh fuck it. I don't even. Steve Bannon, who is, let's say, an interesting character in the political landscape, who has set his eyes on Europe now for a couple of years and made some headway, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, you have this. Tory minister and senior lawyer quits in protest at Boris Johnson's plan. You want to take that one?
Yeah, this is Lord Keane. He is. I don't really know how to. What his official position on it is, but he's sort of the spokesperson of Scotland, or yeah. Oh wait, is it Ireland? Oh shit, I mixed them up again. It's one of them at least, and basically this no deal Brexit that Mr. Boris seems to be roping for is. I think this is the worst possible scenario.
Mm.
And I really feel that this is a way of sending Britain back to, and I'm noticing them saying Britain and not Great Britain, Britain back to, yeah, I'd almost say the Stone Age.
Mm.
I mean, they're going to have problems with everything. I mean, there is going to be power shortages. There's going to be food problems for them. I mean, I don't think they realize how fucked they are. And it's not the middle class or the upper class that's fucked. They're going to have to pay a few more crowns for their wares. But what's going to be the real problem is going to be the underclasses. And they have a massive underclass.
Yeah. I don't know, but they're in a position where they just have to do it. I mean, it's completely fucking ridiculous. I mean, again, I mean, there's a simple reason why people don't trust politicians, right? Now, and it's amazing to me. You know, even in Sweden, you hear these. It's so bad that people are moving to the extremes of the political climate. When democracy is at risk, yada yada yada. You go like, have you? What? Like what? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I mean, how can you? It's been so incredibly long. And to be honest, most of these things will just have to work themselves out. Again, yeah, like you say, there is people who are gonna suffer. But how long can you not respect the people's wishes in this case? I mean, it was pretty clear. Brexit was pretty clear. And the fact that it's apparently so hard to leave the European Union, it's also kind of scary. You know, at some point, it just becomes either, malice or incompetence. And I gotta guess that it's malice, like there's some intent behind this. And that's a weird thing to me, for me. I don't know. It's. I mean, I suffer with UK. I mean, it's just so. I mean, UK has been on such a downward spiral since the 80s. I would say Thatcher is one of the worst things that could ever have happened to UK. I mean, to Europe, that is, I would say, but because she was so influential. I mean, to Hong Kong. She's the one that brokered that goddamn deal as well. And I think, and a lot of those fruits, I mean, they take a time. It takes some time to break something down properly, but they're coming. But I don't know, man. How long has it been? How long is it since they? I mean, is it 6 years? I can't even remember anymore. Brexit. Well, let's see. Brexit vote day. Okay, 6 years. That was an example. It's 4 years.
Yeah, and I still I still feel that there was too many.
It's 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, man.
Yeah, but,
I mean, Trump versus Hillary. I know what happened, and yeah, but here I don't know, man.
I mean, what happened is a lot of people who are they're sick and tired of politics. They're sick and tired of corruption. They're sick and tired of not feeling like they gained something. They feel like they've been fooled. They feel like they worked for something, and then that they never really got anything back for it, and they feel like they've gotten it worse on the course of their lives. And I mean, it's really hard for things to grow unless there is a widespread, discontent inside a country. And then you can say, oh, that's all made up. You all have gotten it so much better. That's all lies. That's not true. I mean, you can try to, I mean, what we've done in Europe, at least in Sweden, is ignore it, right? So we just, no, that you're just racist, or, oh, that's not true. You've gotten it better. You just don't understand what better means. You're just stupid, and you probably live somewhere where you don't have proper education, and that's the problem. Look at this data. And to me, it's like Trump again too. It's like a protest vote. It's like, fuck you guys, fuck you. Here you go, take this, motherfucker. I mean, it's somehow ironic that it's the goddamn boomers, right, who voted both Trump and Brexit through. The ones who, from the beginning, were like, oh, let's open all the borders. The ones who were globalism, great. Let's not regulate anything. No regulations, pure globalism. Let's go. Let's have these free trade agreements and impose our capitalistic model on other countries. We're, whatever, right? They harbored that dream, and I the thing is, a lot of them, obviously, some of them got extremely wealthy out of that, but a lot of them, they just didn't. And I think it's really hard to. I mean, it's kind. I see it just like a middle finger. That's the way I see it anyway. How do you think about that? Sound reasonable? Did you disappear again? Did my fucking Skype fuck up? Otto, goddammit, press the button.
What? Yeah,
you ignored my rant here.
No, I don't think it was a rant. It was it was interesting, but as soon as we talk about Brexit, I actually wanted to end with this, but maybe we could segue into it right now. Are we really gonna miss them? I mean, can you think of anything that, thank God we have Britain for that?
I mean, I have my doubts about the whole EU. But yeah, I mean, if EU was kind of in the whole that was a working institution, and from what I've heard so far and what I can gather, it's better than. I mean, it's just a fucked up system to have. You have a useless parliament that you vote for, and the leaders of each country essentially decide everything, no matter what. So it doesn't really matter. But if it was functioning, and if it actually worked, and if it was more democratic, that where you could actually put people in power, and Europeans could vote for them, and they actually had realistic power on the central level, then I think this would be a huge loss, because UK is such a big part of Europe. It's an integral part of Europe, and we need those goddamn pill chewing fucking stompers, right? Those crazy dudes. Those crazy dudes. What was the new music they invented some years ago? Donk or something?
Yeah, I mean that's so weird. That was weird.
Amazing.
I think one of the most fundamental thing that is wrong with, I'm not even going to say EU, I'm going to say democracy in the Western world today, is that we don't, the votes that our politicians have aren't A, completely transparent, and B, they are not on singular questions. There's always a bunch of questions being put together to legislation, I think they call it. And basically what it does is, take Sweden for an example. They can say that, okay, we are the Swedish Democrats. We want the less immigration, so we're going to put a document down with some questions, making immigration harder in Sweden. And then they're going to go to their friends at the Christian Democrats, and they're going to say, what do you guys want? We want more police and harder police. Okay, well, we can fit that into the legislation, and then they put those questions into the legislation as well. And then comes the tricky part, when they're like, okay, right now we have 45% of the votes. We're going to need the extra 6%. Can we get some liberals for and stuff like that? And then when we start talking about these issues, we're talking about the complete legislation, and we get stuck on that matter. So we can't discuss the singular questions, and we can't point to one person saying, that's the idiot who proposed it, for an example.
Yeah. I mean, it's
just overcomplicated.
I mean, it's just really fucked up. And I mean, there could be easy laws in place to say that you can't do this. And then, I think to a certain level, but I also think it's so much deeper than that on an EU level. I mean, but Superversive saying, the paradox in the mistrust of established politicians are how easily fooled the voters are, that instead vote for the radical alternative gets from these party leaders in the end.
I don't understand.
No, I think the paradox of the mistrust of established politicians are how easily fooled the voters. Yeah, you're gonna have to rephrase. Anyway,
but
what's fucked up for me is that it's like, I mean, I'm happy about that people wake up. I mean, like we talk about. I mean, I like the alt-right. I mean, I think it's important. I think it, it's something. It's people who care. You can write it in Swedish. That's not a problem. I think I'm happy that people care about politics, right? The problem is obviously that they think that they're outside of something, when their response is so easy to predict. I mean, you have to be a fucking idiot not to understand in what way Greta has been used. And it's used to piss you off, you fucking dirty old fart. Like, what do you think these people are? I mean, don't you think there's so many things that are so easy to predict? And, you know, I've been working with marketing. This is not something... Read a book called Trust Me, I'm Lying, which kind of explains how to create fake outrage and how this is leveraged. And we know that politicians have started to use this. We know that from the election. We know what they buy. We know what they do. This is just, like we said, it's theater. And it's, you know what, it's one of the most simple theaters. I mean, I'm going to my friend's, just go on Facebook today. I see so many stupid fucking posts. What's the stupid post? Like, you know, we were watching the Bard stuff, right? And people are so upset kind of about the fact that, you know, Bard did the right thing. They called him a racist. And I'm like, Bard is such a fucking snowflake. Can't even be accepted to be called a racist. You know, he storms out like a little baby. You know? People can't even, you know, that's what we should be talking about right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is like the dream scenario for politicians who want to take power away from people. It's like, I don't know, So I just hope we can get them to kind of take a step back and understand that, yeah, Abdul is not the reason why a grandma doesn't have an apartment. Because it's a fucking ridiculous conclusion. But I mean, as long as we keep, you know, talking about this shit, it's all good. You know, there's really no political change that can come from it, except from, you know, more police and more popular, you know, harder, you know, more criminals, bigger jails. Because there's going to be more and more people that we're going to have to put to jail. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah, but let's go back to Britain.
Yes.
Because I have a video clip.
Right. I think it's here. Do you want to take a time?
Yeah.
Should we random?
Minute 40 was pretty fun when I checked it at last.
Minute 40.
The initial question I asked, which was pretty rhetorical, but asked nonetheless, is, are we really gonna miss them? And I mean, this is a random date I took. I took September 4th because it was it's had a lot of views, and basically it's a 10-hour long debate on the Ben bill, whatever the frick that is, and basically, yeah, their prime minister is gonna talk soon, and I mean, they act like fucking monkeys. So yeah, roll a part of it until you feel that it's getting boring.
All right, so no sound for a reason.
Yeah, I don't really know why.
Let me take it to Chromie boy. No prune. Okay.
I can't see it in the...
And I have to say,
we can see it on the stream on Twitch.
Yeah, you have to see it there.
October the 31st,
okay, yeah.
And I will never allow that.
Mr. Speaker, I really fail to see how I can be accused of undermining negotiations because no negotiations are taking place. He's been Prime Minister for 6 weeks and he promised to get Brexit sorted. In 6 weeks, he's presented nothing to change the previous Prime Minister's deal, which he twice voted against. These negotiations that he talks about are a sham. All he's doing is running down the clock. At the weekend, the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster said food prices will go up under no deal. Will the Prime Minister publish the Yellowhammer documents so that people can see which food prices will go up and by how much?
Mr. Speaker, the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster said absolutely no such thing. I can tell him the preparations for no deal, thanks to his good offices and thanks to his efforts, are very far advanced. But I tell you, the surest way of getting no deal is to
But I kind of like this. But it's insane. Sometimes they go completely nuts when they start running out and completely everyone is standing up. It's funny. Wonder if they ever do it here. It's 10 hours. I bet by the end they were pretty feisty. Or just tired, maybe. That's falling asleep. Look at this. There they are.
Last night called Kirsty, and she posed this question to me.
It was taken.
Can we get it full screen?
Sorry?
Can we get it full screen on the stream?
You can't.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's like I don't know why the audio didn't work. I never use Chrome, and I got Chrome kind of locked down, and I don't want to open it up to all sorts
I know.
of
I understand. Don't fuck with things that's working right now.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why it's not working here though. It's slightly weird. It's probably YouTube are starting to try to force you to be. I don't want to sign in, right? But it's starting, and it realizes I have blockers and all that shit. It's gonna. You know, it's you have the time to move on to the next solution. A solution. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, these nutsheads. I mean, at least it makes it a little bit more interesting to watch, I guess. Kind of. I think that was a pretty good, back and forth there. Right. Maybe kind of to the point.
Question I asked.
Here they are, screaming.
Publish the Yellowhammer documents, and he talks about scaremongering. Where does the information come from other than his office in his government? And he's obviously so confident of the position he's adopted, he's now preparing to spend £100 million of our money on an advertising campaign in order to try to persuade people that everything's fine. He knows it's not, they know it's not, he is hiding the facts. The government has refused to publish its impact assessments on how a no-deal Brexit would affect poverty levels in this country. They received a request under the Freedom of Information Act from the Glasgow-based Poverty Alliance. The DWP replied that the public interest would not be served by that disclosure.
Whoa. Okay.
Will the Prime Minister
That's nasty.
publish that analysis? If he won't, what has he got to hide?
Mr. Speaker, unlike the Right Honourable Member, who would squander £1 billion a month of taxpayers' money on staying pointlessly in the EU, this government is getting on with running a sound economy so that the poorest people in our country are seeing increases in their wages for the first time in more than a decade. And I'm proud to say that those on the living wage,
we can join in,
Otto,
and sit and scream, right?
Yeah.
More
Go ahead.
home every year than they were in 2010, thanks to this Conservative government.
Bloody fat pudding! Get out of there!
Speaker, you don't have to go very far from the portals of this House to see real destitution. People begging and sleeping on the streets. Child poverty is up since 2010. Pensioner poverty is up. In-work poverty is up. And he won't give us any of the information of the assessments of increased poverty that could come from his government's proposals. We are less...
It is incredibly unfortunate, I believe, for UK that they didn't get Jeremy Corbyn as their leader. That would probably one of the few people that could actually have helped them. And the smear campaign that the mainstream media did against him, apart from other things, that he was anti-Semitic. Of course, because that's the Western media's kind of go-to smear for anyone, right? It's just ridiculous. And it really took a bite, too. I mean, his loss took a bite in the Bernie campaign, and they used the same tactics, he's a sexist, anti-Semite. Bernie had was it sexist? He was... oh God, what was it? I can't remember. But there was two big ones. Just rolling over and over again. It's kind of typical. But it's too bad. I mean, in my way, it's the only way to kind of unravel things is to actually try to go forward. But deal with the fundamental inequalities of the current financial system. Inequalities of power, inequalities of money, inequalities of information, inequalities of privacy as well, right? Yeah. It's a good fight, Otto. Maybe that's what we should be doing here. What do you think? What is Otto doing?
Maybe. I'm listening to everything twice, so...
okay. You are on the delay. We're back now.
Yeah, I just muted.
I muted myself. Let's see.
But how is the situation in China nonetheless, even if they're not writing anything about Assange? I mean, there recently was a hand-to-hand combat, almost World War III, between them and India.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to have temporarily calmed down. But I mean, they're expanding, right? I mean, it's very different. What's happening here? I don't even want to. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, on the normal level, it's kind of business as usual. It always kind of is, right? I mean, the money's got to roll, and I think that to a certain extent, that's also what's going to prevent any major conflict. I don't think there is going to be any major conflict yet. This is just, again, I mean, this is a way to kind of prolong this current system. There is, to make sure that those who are in power now and the money keeps rolling in, it keeps coming in. I think there's just too much invested, and that's the thing. So I don't think, but I mean, they're gonna show their muscles. I mean, and then no one can really do anything. I mean, they're gonna expand, keep on expanding, I believe. I mean, it makes a lot of strategical sense. Why not when you can do it? I mean, Hong Kong has fallen, right? So we'll see what the eye next. I think the India thing is just kind of minor. I don't think it's a big deal. But I mean, this is a pretty typical. I mean, this is typical of the fear and warmongering that we're seeing in the West. China has been doing mass surveillance on millions of citizens in the US, UK, Australia, and India. I mean, it just shows how little you know of internet. You think any... I mean, do you even know how social media works? That's the question here. I mean, do you anyone can get a hold of this type of information and build a huge database. Anyone. And of course they're going to have this. Of course there's going to be lists. And there was this, I mean, there's apparently these Swedish people in this leak as well. And it turned out that it was gathered from the open internet. It's just a big list of people where they have scoured the open internet. This is not secret internet. You're publishing this information everywhere online every fucking day. Do you know how easy it is to make a list of people? I mean, and do you know, if you're a secret service, you're gonna do it. This is like a part of what you're gonna do. If you're gonna have all of these lists and try to build connections and try to understand relationships and try to understand how you're gonna influence them. That's like, I don't even know where to start. And this becomes some big news. It's like the unawareness that we are already, what are we now? Like a couple of, megabytes deep in pure fucking data that Google owns about us. Each one of us, right? They own it. They own your data, what you do, all of that shit, right? This was apparently open information. So, I mean, we were looking at Mention the other day. I can get this information about you anytime. Anytime. I can get a spider to collect information about relevant people in your vicinity. I can find out all your friends. I can find out where you live. I can get your fucking phone number, the place where you work, all of those things. Without hacking anything. Right? When you see stuff like this, you're really gonna go to the bottom of this, because this is just fucking fear and warmongering. you should be concerned about is what your government has on you, and what these big companies have on you, and the information that you are giving out, and in what way that actually influences you, and how that is being used, because it's being sold to everyone, to anyone that wants it. Anywho, I don't know, Otto, am I being too nice to China there? But I mean, honestly, I've actually read up on this news because I think it was big in Sweden as well. It's like, they have a list of, and they even have Kungen on the list. And so I was digging. It's like, yeah, they had a spy. They've crawled the open internet for information. You can find this on Wikipedia about these people. It's not hard to just crawl Wikipedia for all famous people and then find every other open information source and just put that together and profile someone, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are we expecting them not to do this kind of things?
Apparently we are expecting countries. We are putting all of our information out there, and anyone who actually collects that to understand something about it, anyone who happens to have a list of that or saved, information about that somewhere, that's apparently, then it's a crime. Well, then that's horrible. Like Superversa says, we need to be suspicious against the Chinese so that we will accept our own mass surveillance types as the good version. Yeah. I mean, and let me be clear, China is fucking horrible, and a lot of what they're doing is really shit. But to a certain extent, let's also be honest, they're pretty open about it. At least they're not like, the privacy is so important, we protect it so well. Now let's give Facebook a lot of money so that we can get all of the data on you and affect the election and keep all of these surveillance records. But don't mind us. China, look at them. I don't know, man. It's the same shit with TikTok. I hope we can get Renee here to talk about that on Friday. Because TikTok is another one of these, completely overblown stories. And there's a lot of things that we could do and we should do. And I mean, what's amazing is that China has just regularly refused to trade with us on equal terms, right? And that's, that's their choice. But we have accepted that. And maybe we shouldn't have, Maybe we should have said, look, if we can't have, if we can't open businesses and own them in your country, maybe you shouldn't be able to do this also in our country. Maybe there is a give and take. Maybe we would say, maybe we could say something like, well, if your small entities that are privately owned can exist and work freely, but the big kind of state-governed institutions cannot. And I mean, they could obviously say the same thing, because that's essentially what Facebook and Google is too. They are bound by the laws in the countries where they originate in front of all, but also naturally where they operate to a certain extent. Anyhow, Israel becomes the first country in the world to impose a second national lockdown. I think we'll follow up this on Corona updates from now on, because this is like, we'll see how it goes there. I mean, this is, what a nightmare. That's...
Spain is, at least Madrid is going into a second.
Oh, they too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
I sent you the local link.
This is actually good news here. We'll take that one first. Did you post it to me privately, or?
Yeah, I posted. I can give it again.
Give it a go. Give it again. what we know about Madrid's new lockdown plans for worst-hit neighbors. The local government of Madrid, the region of Spain hits hardest by the pandemic, said Wednesday it was considering imposing lockdown measures. Okay, it's not enacted yet. They're considering it, though, right? Well, we'll have a look at that, too. I mean, God. I don't even know what to say, man. To a certain extent, we're so goddamn lucky. And I mean, it's not luck, too. I mean, the hospitals have kind of learned how to deal with this to a certain extent. I mean, what you can do to make sure it's not as deadly. But fuck, dude. I'm terrified that it's gonna mutate in a bad way. We get like the Spanish flu situation this fall. I mean, imagine that. But it looks it looks hopeful, right? I'm saying right to myself, kind of, in a way. Right? Please? We don't need more perfect storms right now. We have enough. I have a quick look. Yeah, it's nothing. I mean, India is sticking out, of course. Like we said in the beginning, I mean, this is one of those places where this virus could mutate, and they are in a bad shape. It's not fun. I mean, just the number of deaths in India is staggering right now. They're up to the US level of deaths per day, which is quite incredible. US down a bit now, actually, even the number. No, they're not. They're top. No, okay, they're similar. You imagine that 200,000 people have died in the US.
That's pretty insane.
They crossed 200,000 yesterday. 200,000 people. And you get, I mean, to certain, you gotta ask yourself why. I mean, how can so many people die there? I mean, okay, they have had a lot of the disease, but still, that's a pretty big, goddamn big number. I mean, India, who is closest in cases and are starting to go up, right, in deaths, are still lower. I mean, it's the fucking healthcare system. You get sick, you lose your job, and no healthcare for you.
Yep.
It's incredible. And I can't believe we have people in Sweden who are flagging for this type of system. And when they're not flagging for this type of system, they'll say, you know, we know, I mean, we know the strategy of how to privatize this. It's to make the public healthcare shit. And it's a use strategy that always happens. And these first, like, now you can get a private health insurance that makes sure that you get care before other people. And they'll say, no, it's not before other people. You just end up first in line. You get care quicker. I mean, we are getting there. We were talking with Renee the other day, you know, who wanted to get that test. I mean, this is symptomatic for this type of situations. You've held back investment in it for so long. You have this semi-privatized world where nothing works. And to a certain extent, it's in the private industry's best interest to make sure it keeps on not working. Because if they spend their money, and they can spend their money, remember this, the private interest, they can spend their money in lobbying, right? So you take that money and you spend it in lobbying so that you can expand your profit and expand your business. This is the way that you expand business in the public sector. Your buyer is the state. You expand your business by lobbying the state and expanding the regulations and freeing up the regulations, and they can spend money on doing that. And at the same time, it's not bad if you make sure to make it just a little bit more complicated. Because in the end, it's, of course, according to you and the people that you work with, it's just a sign that the private industry is better. It's an MO that has been used so many times. And it's, you know, I just really hope that people kind of, sometimes when people talk about this, specifically libertarians, they are so hopeless and naive to the business world. You know, it's like they don't understand that businesses are supposed to maximize profit. They'll talk about that, but they will say, oh, it's efficiency. And you go, no, dude, it's profit. Now, how do you maximize profit in this environment? What do you do? How do you do that? How does that work? Well, you offer better health care? No, man. I mean, that's a part of it, but that's not really. You need to make sure that you lobby. Anyway. Yeah. What a day, Otto, va? What a fucking week. This week has been crazy. But as you can hear, I'm as mad as always.
Yeah, well.
But I think that was all of my news, at least. For today. Old potato. Hello.
Yeah. Then maybe we should start shutting this show down, and you should get ready for varning för arbetsförmedlingen.
Yeah, we'll see. Mikael, are you even around? I don't even... I was talking to him earlier. It's been so chaotic. To be honest, I would prefer to... As you know, guys, we've had a lot of technical issues. Because, again, for those of you who weren't here in the beginning, I thought it was a cool idea to pour water all over my electrical circuits. And, you know, by some magical chance, I don't know, well, it said... And it was like this really nasty sound, and then, you know, who would have known, right? Actually, I'm trying to study electrics so I can do wiring on boats. And I realize my level of knowledge is about... Otto, do you know the difference between voltage
and what?
Ampere and watt, for instance?
Ampere is the dangerous one.
Ampere's the dangerous one?
Yeah, if it's just volts, I think it can bang pretty high, but it's not very deadly.
Do you know the difference between direct and alternating current? I mean, this is the fucked up thing here is...
I know some principles about them, but I mean, we're talking high school. I mean, turning lights on and off.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at.
I mean, it's pretty goddamn pathetic. And obviously, I have a girlfriend who happens to be an electrical engineer. So I was like, maybe you can teach me a little bit. And no, it's pretty clear that she's just laughing at me or becoming incredibly pissed that I do not apparently understand fundamentals. There we go. If the electrons go from the plug to the light bulb and back 230 times a second, it's 230 volts AC. Ampere is how many electrons are doing this. All right. Well, here, maybe we'll actually learn something today. But yeah, that's AC, right? Yeah, of course. What I didn't know was that AC switches polarity. I mean, it explains why I break a lot of things in my studio. You really shouldn't play with AC power.
Wow.
It's kind of great. Now, I mean, if you can see here, a lot of my fucking electronic equipment here, all of this stuff here. This is AC here. Right, this. Yeah, you can break them, and it's... Well, I actually haven't broken anything. I'm pretty careful. But yeah, I do tend to pour water on shit, and that's not good. I pour beer on stuff as well. That's even worse, because it leaves a smell. But yeah, I'm happy that, as you can see, it's very well organized. That's just sound cables. The problem is sound cable. It's just a mess. It's a mess. Although the studio is working fine, but yeah, I have to learn how to do it. I mean, I have a regulator and everything here, and it's pretty good. You can fuck it up, but yeah, I have to figure out how to do that for a boat, and then you're talking a 24-volt system or 12-volt system, and it just creates a huge mess. Or rather, you have to learn this shit. Electro Boom. Oh, he saps himself frequently. I gotta save this for myself. Electro Boom. I like the name. Electro Boom. Oh my god, we can watch ourselves. That's fun. We can comment on ourselves, commenting on ourselves, commenting on ourselves.
Oh, it's that guy. That guy is really funny.
Some people say I'm an idiot.
I like it. I'm gonna just subscribe to it. Although I guess, does he have some teaching?
He's sort of in all his video. He's sort of explaining what's happening. If I remember correctly, at least the ones I've seen.
Man, this is like, do you want to? This is one thing I like. I mean, okay, there's many reasons why I really enjoy not having kids, but this is one of the things. I'd imagine that I know I would have if I was like 7 years old at that time. I would go on YouTube. I would see this dude. I'd be like, I'm gonna do that, and get a fork and try to experiment with the socket. He tries to explain, but it's, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, the clips aren't awful long. I mean, take that one below there. 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Watch it.
Which one?
The one he's holding a shovel or whatever it is.
How to make an electric
guitar.
Well, I don't know. But from the name of it, it's just a combination of guitar and electricity. Here's a simple one I made. Here's the basic electric guitar I made with 4 strings. We can add more strings if you want to. Strings are just wires stretched over a piece of wood, tied to nails on each end. The wires at this end are tied together in pairs, as you can see, and each pair is attached to one of these cables, which we can plug them into the wall power plug.
Oh, that's not very good.
Please join me for the first time to hear how it sounds. And 1, 2, 3, 4. It definitely made me sound like a rock star, although it feels more like an electric chair than a guitar. It is extremely dangerous to touch the 110 volt or 220 volt power lines. You can easily get killed. And believe me, nothing's worth touching a power line. When touching a power line, a few different things can happen. If you're wearing your plastic slippers that isolate you from ground and then touch the live wire, you still feel it, although it's not too bad. Because although you are DC isolated, you are not completely AC isolated, as there is still some capacitance between your body and ground. In some cases, due to the shock and the pain, your body can react fast. If you touch the live and neutral wires both, it's very dangerous because the circuit closes through your body. Your muscles can contract, this allowing you to let go. If the current goes through your vital organs like your heart or brain, you will very likely meet your maker.
Whoa. I am your father.
Margaret Thatcher? The funny thing is that they use electricity to save a cardiac arrest victim. Clear! What the f? If you are barefoot and touch the live wire, the current can again go through your body to ground and kill you. It can also contract your leg muscles and make you jump. It's a pity though. I thought I could share my artistic side with you. I forgot to unplug the damn thing. It definitely made me behave like a rock star though. Makes me think of the similarities.
What the Justin Bieber, you mother. This is a joke.
It's not easy to... Wow, that's a Gibson. That's why.
It's obvious the problem is the electric guitar. Don't use the guitar.
Okay, yeah, so some slight knowledge there at least. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for sharing. That's good. I'll watch that and learn a bit more.
Put down in the book club.
Yeah, we'll put it in the book club. That's a good idea. Obviously, like this. So yeah, for you who don't know, we have a book club here, where you can scroll up and find a lot of interesting things on a lot of different topics. A lot of good. Yeah, I think it's almost kind of exclusively at this point YouTube shows. There's a few great newspapers as well that you can follow. But yeah, don't be afraid of going in here and sharing stuff that you like, and we'll build a kind of a joint library of sorts. A little bit more modern, I guess. To learn subconsciously, all right. Yeah. But good shit, guys. I think that's it for today. I'm gonna see if I can talk to
Mikael, and we'll see if we will be live again in 20 minutes or not.
Yeah, I don't think so. If I can convince him to maybe even switch to tomorrow, that would be great. Or perhaps skip this week, and I can try to just work out a little bit more of those kinks. Because I'm honestly not going to have time to do it tomorrow, because I'm gone the whole day.
Okay.
But rock and roll, assholes, and we'll see you tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow? My God, this week. So fucked. I guess it's going to be a nyhetssvepet covering up things. Yep. Well, I'll talk with you then.
Yeah, we'll talk with you then.
Or before that, in our Discord. Puss på er allihopa.
See ya. Kuken ute. Nej, stoppa in den igen, Miss Midget, är du snäll.